I guess we're talking about the Trump article first. Let me bring it up here.
I have so many questions, by the way.
Okay.
So yeah, let's get this going because
okay,
I have a lot
Badger,
of questions.
you've got notes.
I do. So
this is the Trump.
I'll go through it in order. Yeah. So an update on this before we get through the article. Paramount has launched a stunning hostile takeover bid for Warner Brothers Discovery, valuing the company at a massive $108 billion in a bold attempt to derail the WBD's ongoing negotiations with Netflix. The offer, far larger than analysts expected, is backed by $24 billion in funding from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi's sovereign wealth funds, along with capital from Jared Kushner's affinity partners, signaling an unprecedented mix of Hollywood ambition and geopolitical money. The move throws the already volatile media landscape into chaos, raising questions about consolidation, regulatory scrutiny, and whether Netflix's deal-making momentum can survive this surprise challenge, even though Paramount said they were going to do this from the beginning. Okay, so here's the actual article with that update aside. So we are well aware that Paramount has made a counterbid. All right. Netflix's pending purchase of Warner Brothers is unfolding with Donald Trump emerging as a central figure as Ted Sarandos meets with the president in mid-November for a private White House discussion lasting more than an hour. During the meeting, Trump said that Warner Brothers should sell to the highest bidder, and Sarandos agreed, making the case that Netflix is not a monopoly and is only the 5th or 6th biggest distributor on TV. Sarandos leaves the Oval Office believing that Netflix will face immediate resistance from the administration, will not face, rather, immediate resistance from the administration, a key contrast to Paramount, which insists Trump will side with them. Trump later confirms the meeting publicly, calling Sarandos fantastic and praising Netflix as a great company, while also warning it is a big market share. It could be a problem. He says it will be involved in the regulatory decision, signaling that approval of the deal may hinge heavily on his stance. Paramount attempts to leverage Trump's influence, accusing Warner Brothers of running a tainted sale and lobbying the White House to view Netflix as a monopoly. The administration even holds internal discussions on whether Netflix already holds too much market power, but Trump never speaks out against Netflix, a silence that benefits 69. Sarandos as the bidding intensifies. Trump and Sarandos' existing relationship began during a December 2024 dinner at Mar-a-Lago, where they bonded over a shared personal histories and a mutual love of entertainment. That rapport continues, giving Sarandos direct access to Trump as the Warner Brothers auction accelerated. And then lastly, Trump remains a looming force. His Justice Department still has the power to block the acquisition, and his public remarks continue to walk a line between praise and caution. Trump's influence becomes one of the most consequential variables in whether Netflix's historic Hollywood takeover clears its final regulatory hurdles.
I have a lot of questions, man.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm steeped in it. So
my thing is this. I'm pretty well versed when it comes to the ins and outs of like the industry and shit like that. I love film, right? Always loved film. Since I was a kid, the whole deal, blah, blah, blah. Worked in film here and there. My thing is, what I don't understand is, as much as I despise the idea of Netflix buying Warner Brothers, because I think they're the wrong company to own a studio like Warner Brothers. I almost kind of wish Paramount would get it. The problem I have with Paramount getting it, though, is this. Warner, even though I don't think they should sell, especially after having the best year they've had in probably the past 7 years. They've had an amazing year this year. If Warner wants to sell to Netflix, even though I think it's a bad idea, why is Trump stepping in, or why would he step in to regulate business between two corporations, right? Like this is free enterprise. This isn't, I don't feel like the government should step in to a business situation like this, even though I don't agree with it. Right, I don't want Netflix to get them, but if an offer was made and Warner accepted, what's all the hostile takeover? What's all this stuff when two companies have agreed to something? Now, sure, nothing's been signed yet, right? Nothing's been signed. I get that. And if Paramount wants to make a bigger bid, okay, that is fine. But hostile takeovers and including the president and something that is between two corporations, I don't understand this.
Well, to your point, the reason the government is involved is for antitrust reasons. If Netflix purchasing Warner Brothers makes them too big to have too much of a large market share, the government will and needs to be involved. What I think though is I think the news, the press overestimates Trump's influence on all this in terms of not that he doesn't have influence, but Trump's priorities. I don't think this is part of his priorities. They have dinner with him. He issues his opinion, and I think that's as far as that goes. I think Trump has better fish to fry than studio mergers.
Yeah, but the same could be said about when Disney bought Lucasfilm and Marvel, right? People were saying, "Oh, that's a monopoly." No one intervened in that.
I don't think people were. If people were saying that, it didn't hold a lot of weight.
To
purchase Marvel and Lucasfilm, that doesn't make you the largest company in the world.
Yeah.
So I asked Grok to explain this with the numbers, since it's far smarter than I am with analytical shit. So why monopoly concerns are legitimate. Critics argue this merger would consolidate too much power in one company, reducing competition, hiking prices, limiting content diversity, and squeezing creators and workers. And here's the evidence. Market dominance. So this is the antitrust concerns. When the number one streamer merges with the third largest streamer, it's just too much. So pre-merger, Netflix holds about 300 to 312 million global subscribers, making it the largest pure play streamer. Warner Brothers Discovery's streaming arm, Max, HBO, Discovery Plus, has 128 million subscribers. Combined, they'd exceed 430 million, potentially controlling 30 to 40% of the US streaming market. And when you go above 30% is when you start triggering antitrust concerns. So just from market dominance from streaming, and then when they have that, they can then start influencing release windows. And all of a sudden, while other studios are trying to do 45 days, they're doing 2 weeks. And then it all just collapses, and we have no more.
Yeah, but that's all in streaming, though. That's just streaming. That's not just theatrical. Yeah.
So the industry fears Hollywood guilds worry about reduced creative freedom and theatrical releases.
Mhm.
Cinema owners fear Netflix's day and date streaming push eroding box office. In Europe, the deal faces similar antitrust probes, potentially delaying or derailing it. So here, the bottom line, it isn't hyperbolic or hyperbole rather. The numbers and expert reactions show a real risk of monopoly-like dominance in streaming, where Netflix, Warner could control pricing, content pipelines, and innovation, regulate. So the Department of Justice and Federal Trade Commission will likely demand concessions like divestitures, but approval isn't guaranteed. If it goes through, it could reshape entertainment. If blocked, it signals a tougher stance on big tech media grabs. For now, the truth in the statement is backed by data and bipartisan. That's the other thing. Bipartisan. Both sides of the aisle think this is horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, it is. I think Netflix buying them is a terrible idea.
Well, so that's why
but for
you asked
reasons.
why would the government get involved? Because that's why there's monopoly and antitrust concerns that they've triggered by going over that 30%.
Right, and I think it's rightful concern. I don't think this is a small thing where it's political. I think there are real issues of antitrust here that's got to be worked through.
Yeah, but it's all related to the streaming aspect of it. Okay, so it's HBO Max. If they just said, we don't want HBO Max, we'll take HBO, you guys can keep whatever HBO Max is and just keep the streaming service, and we're good. Then you get the studios, you get the back catalog, you get all the IP, and then you get whatever, and they won't involve HBO Max in the deal. That's how they get around that. They just keep HBO Max out of the mix.
See, to me, I think that's the real reason Netflix is going after them. It's like when WWE bought WCW. It wasn't for the business; it was for that catalog.
Right.
It was for all those films, all those intellectual property that they now own, and everything else can go by the wayside, including the linear HBO channel, as well as the streaming HBO Max. Why would Netflix run 2 streaming services?
Exactly. And they're not like those numbers, like Netflix has 300 and HBO has 128 or whatever it was. A lot of HBO Max subscribers also have Netflix. So those aren't one-to-one. Like, we're just like gonna have 430 new subscribers. It probably would go up like 20%. Maybe it goes up to 350 or 4, but it's not gonna go up to 430 million or whatever whatever Grok said. They're just taking 2 numbers and adding them together. But most people have, like, I have HBO Max, I have Netflix, so and a lot of people are the exact same way.
Yeah,
They
and
might-
I can tell you, if this merger goes through, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to dump HBO.
Yep, it's gone. It's out of there. So yeah, it's not going to make any difference.